Hey guys, what's going on? This is your old pal CHH, and today we're looking at some new steelbooks that are available at Walmart, and more importantly, Walmart.com. And we're going to get right into that because I don't know if you guys have noticed that it seems like the Walmart stuff, it's doing good, but it's also kind of not. There are some titles that I know are out, but I haven't seen yet. And so I want to emphasize with today's video that, like, don't be afraid to use Walmart.com for the shipping. And I'm gonna say one of these I actually got online. Actually, both of these I got online, and I was fairly happy with the packaging, the way they shipped it. Not like thrilled, but it's like better than Amazon. So I'm gonna give them credit, because Amazon just takes steelbooks and throws them in those little bubble things, or the standard Prime bags, and it's like they go through a golf course, it looks like, by the time they get back to some people. So we got two reviews. We're gonna start with this one first, guys. This one should be, between these two, should be easily more available. You should be able to find these decently okay at the stores. As long as you're not living in a town where you don't even have cops, you just have a constable. Like, yeah, go to the nearest big city. The next one we have, or the first one we have rather, is this new Saw X 4K. I did not pick this up at all. And the reason I got this, sorry, somebody's blasting fireworks. The reason I got this is because I didn't own the movie. I wanted to, of course, obviously as a physical media collector, I wanted to own the movie, but I have enough collections of the films. You know, they put out that new collection on Blu-ray that has this movie in it, and it was, God, I don't know, like $80 or something, and it's just a Blu-ray collection with this movie included. And I'm just like, I'm not getting any more collections. I got the collection last year, the Saw collection, that was from Lionsgate, as a matter of fact, with that cool, like, 50s style art. And that was my, like, point where I was like, okay, I think I'm done getting collections for this series, even though I love Saw. So I waited because I said they're probably going to do a steelbook for this movie. They didn't on the initial run, but here it is. So what's pretty cool about it, I think the design's pretty good on this. We're going to talk briefly about the movie, guys, but the design's pretty good on this. You've got, like, all these arms and hands everywhere. Saw X, obviously you got Billy in the center right there. Let's take that off. Of course, with your Lionsgate, you're always going to get those. People may have fun putting this over something else. Here's your actual steelbook. It's a black matte finish, I believe. Yeah, it looks pretty much like a matte finish. Again, you've got all the hands and stuff making Billy's face. And on the back, you've got all these arms and legs making this X. So, not bad. Not a bad looking steelbook. My 4K is in the player, guys. I do apologize. You get your digital code, which I always try to sell mine. On the inside, you're going to get, like, this blood, I don't know what the hell that is. And then your two discs look identical. They both look exactly like this, and it's the same thing on the bottom side. So, there you go. So, like I said, the shipping for Walmart.com is getting better. First off, I got this within 2 days, so they actually are beating Amazon with shipping, because most of the time with Amazon, it takes me really 3 days, because I don't have a facility close to where I live. So some people can get, like, next day shipping. Me, it takes really about 3 days for my Prime. So Walmart's actually beating these. I ordered these online. This one I saw at a store 30 minutes from me when I was going to the movie theater, because my theater is so bad I refuse to go. So I go to a different theater a little bit farther away from me. So when I went to that Walmart, I saw this one. This one should be readily available. So, like I said, I'm not trying to just justify my purchase, but the reason I was glad to get this. I never picked up the standard 4K. I didn't like the artwork or anything on that. I just had a feeling they were going to do a steelbook, and I wanted to get something a little bit more prestigious and nice. And I'm done buying collections for these movies. I'm done. So, if they make another one, I'll get it on physical media, but I'm not going to buy another box set where they just keep adding a movie. So, just a few seconds, I want to say something about this movie. You guys probably remember my review. I was not a huge fan of this movie. I didn't think it was a bad film. It was just taste, right? It was my taste. What I love about the Saw franchise is basically there were so much shades of gray, especially in the sequels with Hoffman coming in. To me, that's where the magic was. I really liked how you really did have to kind of pick a side sometimes. And, you know, with this one, I get it, I think people want to love John Kramer. They do, and they just want to love him. So I think naturally, making this film have more of this, he got screwed, he's the good guy in this. I think it works for people and understand that. The kills, I'll give this. The kills, some of the best traps, I think, were in this. In terms of brutality, this really was a throwback to the 2000s with the brutality. So I'm going to give that credit as well. I'm not a fan of this doing the sequels going back in time, because it just starts to get a little bit laughable to me when we have people wearing wigs, trying to look 20 years younger. I'm not saying Shawnee looks bad, but I mean, the fact is she looks 20 years younger where she's wearing a coconut head wig from the show Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. I mean, that's what it is. But I understand, this is why I'm not in the movie business. For me, I would like to move the Saw story forward. I understand Spiral wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but I appreciate that we're moving ahead with time, not so much going back in time, which I think they're doing for the next one. So it is what it is. I can enjoy it more. I will say this was actually a pretty good looking 4K. It actually looked fairly filmic too. And I will say this, you really feel it more. It feels more like a Saw movie watching it at home. You know, when you're in the theater on the big screen, you know, it's just this, it's this huge thing. But I really feel more of the Saw-esque of it, I guess I'm saying, at home, the way the movie was. But I love how it's not also trying to really just ride the James Wan coattails with those crazy, you know, edits and things like that, and the swirls all the time. So it's a good sequel. It's just not my style. Okay, but I will say it's actually a pretty good looking 4K. So I'm gonna give this the 4K a 7.5 out of 10, and I'm gonna give this Steelbook an 8 out of 10. I think it's a good looking Steelbook. The Jigsaw Steelbook artwork is still my favorite, but that's pretty good. So that's readily available at Walmart, guys. Special features includes audio commentaries with Kevin, the director, the cinematographer Nick Matthews, the production designer Anthony Stabley, Reawakening, the making of documentary, drawing inspirations, makeup department, trap tests, deleted scenes, theatrical trailers, and of course this comes with a Blu-ray. So that's readily available. But I want to talk about the shipping, because both of these movies came shipped the same way to me. They come in like a cardboard, it's like the shape of like the Amazon bags, but it's a really thick, dense cardboard thing. And there was actually 2 pieces of cardboard, thick cardboard stuffing, like these sheets between the Steelbook. So it was actually fairly well protected. Both of mine arrived in flawless condition. So I will say that Walmart's shipping is better than Amazon's by a bunch. Obviously, there's the boutique stores, the Diabolics and all that. They're the best. They actually put stuff in nice boxes. But the fact of the matter is you can't get these from those stores. These are Walmart.com's exclusive. So now let's move on to this one, which I'm excited to talk about. I'm going to try not to go too long-winded, because this is actually my second time recording this, because I forgot to hit record the first time. But I'm not losing my energy for this. Next we're talking about the new Diary of the Dead Steelbook. Now listen, I'm going to get this out the way. I'm going to talk about this movie briefly, and then I'm going to talk to you about this Steelbook and the situation with it. Diary of the Dead is first and foremost, it's a George Romero film. Diary of the Dead comes after Land of the Dead. So, you know, the 3 Dead movies that people always think about are the mainstay legendary films, and I'm right there with you guys. There are 3 great Living Dead films. Romero Living Dead films. There's Night, which I think is probably the best of all time. Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. Classics, no doubt about it. Then you get into the 2000s, and there's this little bit of a renaissance with Living Dead in a sense. You know, the Zack Snyder remake comes out in 2004. Then you get Land of the Dead, the next chapter from George Romero, which I think is aging a little bit better. I think it's pretty good, right? But then after that, George wanted to kind of do something different with the Dead series. So then he did Diary of the Dead, and Diary of the Dead is basically a found footage movie. It's an interesting found footage movie in the sense of it's really told through a story. I don't want to spoil it, but it's somewhat of a sense in the way that like another found footage movie was. I forget the name of it, but it's basically a movie where, you know, you get this introduction about what you're going to see is this footage of what we were doing was making a movie, blah blah blah, and then it turns into this, you know, the film. And what I like about Diary is this. I feel like Diary is really an enjoyable 2000s blockbuster rental horror film. wrapped in a living, and it's got the glow of a Romero film. It's a lower budget thing. It's not that it looks cheap, but it's not the caliber of the old Living Dead films. George had his time. George had his time to be the man, and he was the man. He's my favorite director. But this is kind of like the twilight years of George, right? He was an older man by this point, but he still had stuff to say. Of course, Diary has its little subliminal messages, the way a lot of George's movies do. But Diary, I feel, between Land, Diary, and Survival probably being the worst Dead movie he did. I'll give it a pass, though, because I think it was the last film George made. I feel like Diary is the better of the latter-day George films. There's a little bit of CGI here and there when there's moments of like a zombie's head being completely blown off and he's moving around a little bit, but it's not overly laced with that sort of stuff. It's actually a fairly paced movie, so it's not anywhere near the level of the old stuff. But when it comes to the twilight years of George, this is my favorite, and I think people that grew up in my time in the blockbuster rental days of the 2000s can agree that this would have been a fun Friday night rental with your friends, just getting some pizza, chilling out, and just watching a decent little rental flick. I don't know if this went theatrical or anything like that. I know that I rented it from Blockbuster around the time it came out, around 2007 or 8 when I was in high school. I remember renting this, and I had a fun time with all my friends. So it's one of those movies. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, this is the Steelbook release. Now here's what I'll say about this. I have not seen much of anybody actually show them finding this at their Walmart. I ordered this. As a matter of fact, I pre-ordered this because this is from Lionsgate. So when they announced this, I was like, well, I have to get that. It's a Romero film. It's a Romero Steelbook. And it's just kind of interesting, right? It's Diary of the Dead. So when they announced this, I was all about it. Let me show you this. It opens up into a picture. As you can see, pretty cool. I like the Steelbook. I actually think it's a good looking Steelbook. And on the inside, what I really like is they give you the actual theatrical one sheet on the inside there, newly commissioned disc for this release. And behind that, thankfully this Steelbook comes out really easily. It's not hard to pop that one out. You got a little image of the zombie attack at I believe that was at the hospital. So I'm really hoping some people will kind of get this maybe and see it for the first time. But I'll also tell you this, if maybe I've sold you to check the movie out and you say, well, Christian, that's cool, but I don't want to pay the $22.96, I think is what it is, which, by the way, Lionsgate, let's kind of keep stuff at that $20 mark. You guys were doing good about that for a while. You're creeping up the prices a little bit, so I'm watching you. I'll tell you this, you can go on Amazon and get the Diary of the Dead Blu-ray. I believe it's a Dimension Extreme Blu-ray at that, and you could probably get that for fairly cheap, maybe $13 or $14.99, so you have that option as well. But if you do like this Steelbook, if you think this is a cool Steelbook and you like to have it in your collection, I'm going to recommend you go to walmart.com and pick this up. I can't guarantee that your movie will come perfectly in shape because that'd be silly for me to say that, but I am telling you, I wouldn't say this. It's not like Walmart's paying me to say this. Their shipping protection is better than Amazon's. So you're more safer, in my opinion, getting a Steelbook from Walmart as opposed to Amazon. And like I said, I got both of mine in flawless condition. They use these really stiff kind of cardboard wraps with two pieces of cardboard in front of and behind the Steelbook, so they can take a pounding and be okay. So, and special features for this, by the way, when you get it, if you get this, it comes with this, the little thing. It says exclusive Walmart Steelbook. There's a making of on here, which Michael Felsher is a part of this. The making of, he's all in it, and it's so cool seeing him. Of course, right now he's working on the Trick or Treat Red Shirt Pictures 4K release, which is in conjunction with Synapse, I believe. There's a mini interview with George Romero in here. There's cast and crew interviews, and there's the MySpace zombie winners in here. That's pretty cool because this was the 2000s, so it was a MySpace thing. So guys, I just wanted to talk about these. I recommend both of these. I think this is a good looking Steelbook, and if you're a Saw X fan, it's pretty much a no-brainer. I'm just hoping to get a couple new fans for this movie, or at least to check it out. But I'm telling you, it's a 2000s fun rental horror movie. That's what it is, okay? But it's got the prestige of a George Romero film, and I'm a huge fan. So, of course, any moment I can to talk about my favorite director, I'm going to. So these are available, guys. You can get this one a lot easier. If you're interested in this one, your safest bet is to just go order it on walmart.com, because I don't know how much these are going to be popping up at the stores. I went to 3 Walmarts just because I was out and about, and I never saw this one once. So there you go, guys. 2 readily available 4K Steelbooks and Blu-ray Steelbook. This is a Blu-ray, not a 4K. This is a Blu-ray. Available now, guys. Let me know your thoughts on these. Did you pick these up and that sort of thing? For now, this is Rolepal CHH saying physical media is alive and well at walmart.com. See you guys next time. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.